Most coaches, consultants, and agency owners think that if you want to sign more clients on LinkedIn, you need to post more content, send more DMs, or worse, spend hours engaging with other people every single day. But what if I told you that none of that is actually necessary to consistently sign clients through LinkedIn? In the past 21 days, I've signed $35,000 worth of clients, all through LinkedIn, without cold pitching anyone, without spending more than 30 minutes per day in the DMs, and without any viral content or a huge LinkedIn audience. And my calendar stays full with 5 to 10 super qualified sales calls every single week. My offer got booked out within the first 3 weeks of just launching it, and I designed the entire system to be ran on just 1 hour of work every single day. But it wasn't always like that. Last year, I was earning anywhere from $13,000 to $17,000 every single month, but I was burnt out. I was working 10 to 12-hour days. 3 to 4 hours of that was spent on lead generation. I was constantly having to chase leads, messaging people, spending hours in the DMs every single day. I had no idea when I'd sign my next client. Revenue was up 1 month, down the next month, and it was just inconsistent. And I had no reliable system to book my next sales call, and it was stressful. And deep down, I was wondering if I'd just sign myself up for another job. In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how I fixed that using my system that I call the LinkedIn Bakery, a system that gives you predictable, high quality sales calls every single week without adding a ton of more work to your plate. Because at the end of the day, client acquisition shouldn't be a hustle. It should be reliable and produce the same results every single time, just like a bakery does. And if you follow the recipe, you'll always get the same result. Today, I'm gonna walk you through my recipe for booking sales calls through LinkedIn, step by step, so you can implement it into your own business and go and sign clients on LinkedIn. So before I started using my LinkedIn Bakery system, which is a funny name, I know, but I'll get into it in a little bit more depth in a minute. I was having 2 appointment setters on my LinkedIn profile. I was earning roughly $15,000 per month in personal profits, which was great, but I was having to spend hours every single day in the inbox. I was constantly chasing my next sale, and although I was getting roughly 10 sales calls per week, they were low quality. And so I had a low show rate on my sales calls, which obviously meant I wasn't closing as many as I would have liked to. And even the people that I did close, I often didn't enjoy working with them. I had to take them on because I was so worried about when my next sale might or might not come, that I just wanted to get the sale in as quickly as possible. And the other problem was I only had one offer, and I was constantly turning away leads that probably could have bought something else from me, but I just didn't know what to give them. And I was basically chasing my tail. I was a coach that was constantly having to chase the next sale, chase up the next lead, try and book my next sales call. It was always scrambling every single week. And it was a high effort system with not much reward. And then since starting my new solo consulting business and my previous coaching business and using this LinkedIn Bakery system, I have 0 appointment setters. I've done $35,000 in revenue in the last 3 weeks. I only spend 2 to 3 hours per week in the inbox. I have simple processes that are easy to follow, and I'm booking 5 to 10 super qualified sales calls every single week. And every single client that I've closed within them last 21 days have all been people that I enjoy working with, and I'm genuinely confident I can help. And off the back of that, I've got a 95% plus show rate. Out of around 35 to 40 sales calls, I've only had 2 people not show so far. And so far, I've closed around 33% of them. Even better, I've closed some people in the DMs for other offers that I can now give to people. Instead of just selling one offer to one type of person and trying to fit everyone into that box, I've started opening up new offers. For example, I've been selling my systems as opposed to just my consulting to some people who maybe can't afford the consulting yet, but off the back of using my systems will be able to afford it in 3 months. So I've been selling them my DM frameworks, my sales call frameworks, my content GPT, etc., etc. They've been using that. The idea is in 60 to 90 days, they'll be in a position where they can sign up to my consulting. So that's opened up my door for even more clients. And this is what I call hybrid consulting. It's low effort, it's a low effort lead gen system, and it gets consistent, good results. Now you might be wondering why I call it the LinkedIn Bakery system. So I'll give you an explanation, right? A bread recipe works like this. If you put 1 cup of flour with 1 cup of yeast, 1 cup of water, put it in the oven, every single time you will get 1 loaf of bread. And if a baker wants to get 2 loaves of bread, he just does double the ingredients. He does 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of yeast, and 2 cups of water, puts it in the oven, he gets 2 loaves of bread. Every single time, consistently. All he has to do is just double the inputs if he wants 2 loaves of bread, triple the inputs if he wants 3 loaves of bread, etc., etc. Okay, I built my LinkedIn system to work in a similar way. In that if you know that 5 posts and 50 DMs equals roughly 10 sales calls, and 10 sales calls equals 2 clients on average, then if you want 4 clients, again, all you have to do is double the inputs. You do 10 posts, send 100 DMs, you book roughly 20 sales calls, and then off the back of that, you sign 4 clients because you know that you have a 20% close rate. Again, it's a simple, predictable system that is backed by data. So you know exactly what inputs you need to put in to get the same output every single time. And that means you can build a predictable, scalable business because you know what you need to do to get to the next revenue target. So here's an overview of how my LinkedIn system works. I'll go into it in more depth, step by step in a minute, so you can learn exactly how to implement it into your business as well. But before I do that, I want to walk you through my core values and philosophies as to why I built this system. Most LinkedIn advice is rubbish for people running actual businesses. It's designed for content creators who want to go viral, build a super big audience, get loads of impressions and likes, etc. But if you're running an actual coaching or an actual consulting business or even an agency, you don't have time to be spending hours engaging with other people every single day, trying to create the perfect post to go viral, because you have clients you need to serve, clients you need to deliver to, other things that you need to do in your business. And you also can't build a business that runs off of the fact on whether you went viral or not this week. You need a system that works every single week. So here's the core values and philosophies I built this system around. Number one is no bullshit systems. I like to keep everything as simple as possible. I don't tell my clients to spend half hour a day engaging in other people's posts every single day. I don't tell my clients that they need to create the most viral post in the world and make it super complex. Because if you're running a business, you don't have time to do them things. You need to only do the actions that correlate directly into money in your bank. And so that's what I built my system around. Simple things that sign clients every single week. Number two, money in the bank is the only KPI that I measure my client's success on. No vanity metrics, not followers, not likes, not impressions, just clients signed and money in the bank. Because if you're measuring it on anything else, the chances are you're probably being sold something that isn't actually going to make you that much money and they're just trying to sell you some sort of dream. And number three, repeatability and predictability are key to scaling. If you don't know exactly how many sales calls you're going to book that week or the next week or the week after, scaling your business is going to become very difficult and stressful. And you might not even know whether you're going to earn money that month. And so I built my system around making it predictable. I don't want to know whether I'm going to book my next sales call or not next week. I want to make sure that if I do X, Y, Z, every single week, I will get a sales call or a client or even two. And so that's what I built it around. Now, my LinkedIn system isn't some sort of magic pill. It's not majorly different from any other LinkedIn guru on the platform. But I've made sure to build it so that it aligns exactly with what B2B founders need so that they can A, run their business, but B, consistently make clients without spending hours on lead gen and sales calls. And it works. I've worked with over 100 founders now. All of them have gotten pretty good results if they've done the work and the inputs that I told them to do. Here's some proof. Chris signed $20,000 worth of clients in 30 days. Emery signed $15,000 plus worth of clients in the first 30 days as well. Peter Gaffney signed £45,000 worth of clients in his first 30 days and went from 40 to 60K a month every single month. Vlad started from zero and within the first month booked 7 sales calls and landed a client. Maria signed 4 clients within her first month as well. Alan 4x his investment within 8 weeks of working with me. And Kevin signed 2 clients at an average LTV of £20,000 to £40,000. So he definitely returned his investment. And it also works for me. I scaled a $75,000 a month coaching business off the back of this system with my old business partner. And with my new solo consulting business, it books me 5 to 10 qualified sales calls every single week. Here's a screenshot from last week from my Calendly of sales calls being booked in. It looks like this every single week. So now I'm going to show you exactly how it works step by step so that you can implement it into your own business and start booking consistent sales calls through LinkedIn. The first step that I do with any of my clients is build a really good offer and also get super clear on who we're targeting with that offer. Because if you don't get this step right, your sales calls won't close, no one will reply to your DMs, people won't read your content, and it has a knock-on effect throughout your whole lead gen and sales process. Because if you're trying to shove something down someone's throat that they don't want to buy, they're not going to buy. And they're not going to waste their time on your content and replying to your DMs. So we need to get this part perfect to begin with before we do anything else. So the first step I do with all my clients is define their ICP, which stands for Ideal Client Profile. I try and get super specific with them on who their situational ICP is. Now, what I mean by that is, instead of just saying B2B founders, you would say B2B founders doing 3 to 10K a month who are stuck in inconsistent lead gen. You haven't just come up with a job title or ideal client that you target. You're coming up with the situation that they're in when they come to you and when they need help from you. That helps you get super specific on the problems you're going to be solving, the outcomes you're going to help them achieve. So if you're struggling to define your ICP, here's exactly how you can do it. Go onto your LinkedIn DMs, reach out to people in your network and get your ideal client on an interview call. Quick 15 minutes. Say to them, hey, I'm just testing out this new offer that I want to build. Would it be okay? I'll ask you a few questions. I'll offer you some help in return. And then when you get them on a call, ask them what goals, pains, fears they have around the thing that you want to help them with. For example, if you're a lead gen consultant and you want to help them with more lead gen, ask them, how many more leads do you want to get every single week? What would an ideal week of revenue look like for you? What problems are you currently having with lead gen? Is it qualified sales calls? Is it lack of sales calls, etc., etc.? Try and get as much information out of them as possible and use a call recorder to record all of your calls. Now, the thing that you want to get out of these calls is the exact wording that they use to describe their problems, their goals, their fears. Because when you use their exact language in your marketing, on your profile, in your offer, in your content, your DMs, etc., they're going to resonate with you so much more than the guy who's trying to sound clever. And so once you've got all of these call recordings, upload the call transcripts to a GPT and say to the GPT, what are all of the common pains, fears, goals that these transcripts or these people in these transcripts have? And what are the exact words that they use to describe them problems, describe them goals, etc., etc. Try and get super clear on the words they use. Then step 2 is you want to get a painful starting point that they have, i.e. the situation they're in when they come to you, the problem they're dealing with. So, for example, they might be relying on referrals, having unpredictable revenue months, and no system to solve that. You need to come up with the most painful system that they have that you can help them solve. And then this moves us on to step number 3, which is what desired outcome do they want? Now, a really good offer bridges the gap from your ICP's painful starting point to their desired outcome. And so you want to figure out exactly what the desired outcome is. What do they actually want? Is it 5 to 10 consistent sales calls every single week without hiring, without guessing, without the unpredictability? You want to make this clear, measurable, and emotionally charged. Not just what do they want, but why do they want it? Figure that bit out, because that will help you closing them on sales calls, writing content, etc., etc. Now, once you've got these 3 things, you know who you're targeting and you know what transformation you're helping them make, which is essentially your niche, by the way. Now, to build a really good offer, you can do the rest of these steps here. So step number 4 is get clear on the time frame that you're going to help them with solving this problem. So for example, 30 days to get the system running, 90 days to actually scale it and start signing clients. The shorter that you can make your time frame that you help them achieve the result in, the sexier it's going to be for the ideal client. And obviously make sure it is honest. Don't pitch them something you can't deliver on, because then you get a load of bad reviews and long term you won't make any money. So make sure it's honest, but try and find a way you can actually get people them results as quickly as possible. This is called time to value, and it's a super important metric that you should be measuring when you're delivering to clients. How quickly does my ideal client, when they sign up with me, achieve their first result? Most of my clients, for example, start booking sales calls within the first 2 weeks. So their time to value is 2 weeks. Obviously, I give them the system way before that, but an actual measurable thing that they want when they sign up to the thing is sales calls. The first time they achieve that is usually within 2 weeks. So you should start measuring that within your delivery as well. Quick tip. Number 5 is come up with your unique mechanism, system, method. And this is basically trying to define how do you uniquely get them from A to B, right? Yes, you might say, okay, help them get more sales calls through LinkedIn or more leads through LinkedIn, for example. Give it a name though that stands out from the rest of the people on LinkedIn. For example, mine is called the LinkedIn Bakery because it's a repeatable recipe. Yours could be the LinkedIn Revenue System. Frederick Bahus, who's my mentor, uses the digital coffee shop method to describe how he has different products. Give it a name, framework it, make it sound like a vehicle to get people from where they currently are to where they want to get to. Step number 6. Come up with the deliverables and the components that they're actually going to get when they buy from you, okay? For example, optimized LinkedIn profile, outbound DM system, AI assisted content engine, weekly calls, etc., etc. List out everything they're going to get when they sign up with you. And then obviously when you're on sales calls, it's easier for you to pitch that because you can just read it off of a bullet pointed list. Think tangible and visual things though. Don't give people wishy-washy things like, oh, I'm going to help you with your mindset. Yes, you might help them with it, but people want physical things. And so try and list out as much of them as possible. Package it into one big thing that you're going to give them. Step number 7 is you want a belief-based differentiation. So obviously I have a LinkedIn system, but so do hundreds of other people on LinkedIn, right? I had to find a way to think of why my method is better than anything else they might have tried. And obviously earlier on in this video, you heard me talking about my core values, my core beliefs, my philosophies behind my system. So repeatability, scalability, no BS, etc., etc. That is what differentiates me. You need to find what differentiates you from the other lead gen consultants, the other personal trainers, the other career coaches, etc., etc. You need to really push your convictions and your core beliefs, your core philosophies right here, okay? Step number 8 is if you have any guarantees or risk reversals, you can add these in. I wouldn't recommend that you market these or advertise these on your LinkedIn profile, on your Instagram, YouTube, whatever, because then you attract the wrong kind of people who are just coming for the guarantee. But let's say you're on a sales call and you're super confident that you can help this person, but they're just not closing and you really want to help them, then you could offer them a guarantee. For example, if you don't make your money back within the first 60 days, I'll work with you until you do for free. That could be a good guarantee. It's a risk reversal that helps people get across the line that you're super confident that you can help. Again, I wouldn't recommend that you market these on the front end because you just attract a load of low quality clients. Okay. And then the last step, step number 9, is any bonus or enhancement levers that you can add into your offer. So these are basically just sweeteners that increase the perceived value. For example, so here's what I usually give away to all of my clients: content, DM, sales call frameworks. But as a bonus, I'm going to chuck in a load of setter SOPs so you can hire an appointment setter and get them to run this system for you. Obviously, you probably usually do offer this to all your clients, but if you make it sound like a bonus for if they sign up with you there and then, it makes them make decisions faster. You obviously sign up more clients, etc., etc. And you can stack 1 to 3 of these on top of each other and give them away as bonuses if they sign up now or within the next 24 hours, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, one thing to remember is when you're building an offer, simple is always better than clever, and clarity is always better than creativity, right? I see it all the time. People try and make these really cool sounding offers. They sound super complex, like empowering leaders to enhance their mindsets. Okay, it sounds cool, but what does it actually mean? Okay, keep it simple. For example, these are some of my clients' offers that they use on their LinkedIn headlines. Client number 1, law firm signed 10 plus instructions every single month using my client catalyst system. Sounds super simple, but when a lawyer reads that, they know exactly what they're gonna get off the back of working with him. And so they're more likely to reach out to him. Second client, I teach gaming professionals how to land a higher paying job. Again, super simple, but he signed $20,700 worth of clients in the first 30 days off the back of this offer. His name was Chris. I've already made a case study video about him. If you want to watch it, it'll be in the description below. But yeah, I help senior executives and partners on a busy schedule get in shape plus lose weight. Super simple. Founders book 5 to 10 plus sales calls every week using my LinkedIn system. That's mine. Another one. Founders book 20 plus extra sales calls per month with our appointment setters. These are all super simple. They don't use any crazy language. They're not trying to be creative or really complex. They just use the language that their ICP described to them about their pains, about their goals, and put it into their offer. So that's how you build a super good offer and get really clear on who your audience is. Step 1, define your ICP. Step 2, bridge the gap from where they currently are to where they want to get to. And then step number 3 is make your offer sound sexy by adding in a time frame, giving it a unique mechanism name, listing out all the deliverables and components that they're going to get once they sign up with you. Differentiate yourself by sharing your core beliefs, your values, your philosophies behind your system or your service, giving guarantees to people who you're super confident that you can help, but they just won't get across the line, and then also adding in different bonus and enhancement levers. Do that, you'll have a really good offer at the end of it. Now, once you've built your offer, the second step that I take all of my clients through and my own self through is obviously lead generation, okay? So this is how I actually book sales calls through LinkedIn. Step number 1 is to build a sales navigator list. It's a tool that you can buy through LinkedIn. It's like $80 a month, something like that. And what you want to do is you want to build a list of your ideal client. So obviously in the last step, you got super clear on who they are, what job title they have, how long they've been in their job, blah, blah, blah. Build a list of that person on Sales Navigator. Use the different tools like the current job title, like the years of experience they have, where they're located, etc., etc. Make sure that 90% of the people that come up in the results look as close to your ideal client as possible, and then send 25 to 40 connection requests per day to them people. You want to aim for a 25 to 40% acceptance rate, and the goal is to build a network of high quality leads so that these people start seeing your content, you can start DMing them, they start signing up to your lead magnets, etc., etc. Okay, super simple step, get that out of the way as the first one. Then what we want to do is we want to optimize your LinkedIn profile. So think of your LinkedIn profile like a landing page or an elevator pitch. It should say, here's who I help, here's how, here's proof. That's basically your LinkedIn profile in a nutshell. And your offer should be made super clear throughout the whole thing. And obviously the aim is, with your LinkedIn profile, to direct people to your sales call booking page or your appointment booking page, whatever you want to call it. So here's how to set your LinkedIn profile up. This is my one, obviously. This is how it looks like from the top. Your headline should be your one-line offer. For example, founders book 5 to 10 plus sales calls every single week using my LinkedIn system. It includes my ICP's name, founders, tells them the outcome they're going to get, booking 5 to 10 plus sales calls every week, and it includes my unique mechanism, which is my LinkedIn system. My banner is the biggest possible outcome that I can help my clients achieve. Now, I'm not saying here I'm going to scale you to 75K a month using LinkedIn. What I am essentially saying is, I've done it, I now help other people try and do that as well. And so think about what the biggest possible outcome that you can help your clients achieve is, and one that they actually want. Pitch that in your banner. For example, if you're doing lead gen for people, that kind of correlates to signing clients. So you could pitch that in your banner. If you're a personal trainer, you could pitch the amount of weight that you want to help people lose or the amount of muscle you want to help them add on. Think of the biggest possible outcome, put it in your banner. And then underneath here, underneath your headline, there's a button you can add on LinkedIn. I direct people to my Calendly booking page. They then can book in a sales call. That also shows at the top of all of my posts as well. So set that up too. Then your about section should be an elevator pitch. Like I said, it should say, here's who I help, here's how, and here's proof. And that's exactly what mine does. And then at the end, a simple CTA or a call to action. Mine is DM me system to see if I can help. And then lastly, you want to add some more proof into your services section. Just set this up, add some testimonials in, add some social proof in, add some client case studies, etc., etc. If you don't have any, use yourself as a testimony or a social proof or a case study. For example, you could say, I started my business 3 months ago, here's how many sales calls I booked. Or here was me 1 year ago, overweight, eating unhealthily, here's me now. If you don't have any clients yet, use yourself as a case study. Now, that's the foundation for the lead generation setup. We've got the sales nav with the high quality leads being added to your network every single day. We've got the profile set up so that when people come from your content, they know what you do, they know what you're gonna offer them, and they're more likely to sign up. Now it's actually about booking the sales calls. So there's 2 ways that I do this. Number 1 is the content, number 2 is the DMs. I'll take you through the content first. So there's 3 types of content I post, okay? Bottom of funnel, middle of funnel, and top of funnel. And content achieves 2 things for me. Number 1 is it's a super long-term play. I'm not expecting it to generate me inbounds the second I post. But over time, it's gonna build me an audience and nurture that audience to show them that I know what I'm talking about, to show them that I can actually help them. And so someone who follows me today probably won't book a sales call with me for the next 3 to 6 months, and I know that. So for your first 3 to 6 months, if you're just starting out with content, don't expect to generate inbound leads straight away. But there are also some short-term gains that you can obviously get from it. And obviously this is a long-term gain. Generating inbounds. If you get really good with your offer, really good with your profile, and really good with your content from week 1, there's no reason why you can't start generating inbound straight away. That's what Chris did, it's what Emery did, it's what Peter did, etc. And it's obviously what I did when I launched my new offer. I mainly post text, sometimes video content, but text tends to do better on LinkedIn. So I'll break down what bottom of funnel, middle of funnel, and top of funnel content is. Top of funnel is targeting people who are problem unaware and solution unaware, meaning they don't even know they have a problem yet. So your aim with a top of funnel post is to build awareness around that problem, make them aware they do have a problem by speaking to raw pain, frustration, or hidden problems that they might have. The aim is to make your ICP read your post and say, holy shit, that's me. With top of funnel posts, you don't want pictures or CTAs, you just want to make your ICP aware of a problem. So a few different ideas that you could do for this is, I sometimes write about people spending hours every single day commenting on LinkedIn posts. And I call that out and say it's a waste of your time if you want to sign clients through LinkedIn. Sometimes I'll write a story about myself, about how I used to spend hours in the LinkedIn DMs every single day, but now my system takes half hour a day to run. And then that will make someone read it and go, okay, cool, there is actually a solution to this frustration that I feel. So here's a quick example of a top of funnel post I wrote. 90% of your lead gen problems aren't lead gen problems, they're offer problems. Now, anyone who's struggling to generate leads might read this and go, actually, I don't think my problem is lead gen anymore. I think it's my offer. And then therefore I've made them aware they have a problem. They're now in my world, they might start following me, etc. Okay, that's top of funnel. Middle of funnel is targeting the next stage of people. So these people are aware that they have a problem, but they don't know the solution to it. So you want to build belief by explaining how change is possible, by giving them step-by-steps, frameworks that they can use, actionable things that they can read from the post and take away. And this warms them up by showing that you know what you're doing and what you're talking about. Okay, so here's an example of a middle of funnel post. My content books roughly 5 sales calls a week. Here's my 4-step system to write lead generating content. And then obviously I've just literally broken down how I write lead generating content. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Another example is, let's say I wanted to turn this top of funnel post into a middle of funnel one. I could then say, here's how to build a good offer, because that's showing people how to solve the pain of having a terrible offer and giving them a solution to it. And then lastly, bottom of funnel, these are the most simple to explain. They're people who know they have a problem, they know the solution to it, for example, LinkedIn or hiring a personal trainer or eating more healthy, etc. But they don't know how to implement it, or they just want some help doing it. And so your goal with the bottom of funnel content is to build trust and urgency for someone to read it and take action. The way you can do this is by showcasing social proof, results, case studies, client wins, etc. And at the end of all your bottom of funnel posts, include a direct call to action, for example, book a call with me, so that ready to buy prospects book in a call and hopefully buy. Now, this is a bottom of funnel post that I wrote about my client Quinton, who edits all my YouTube videos, by the way. Feel free to reach out to him if you want some help. But I basically just wrote a post about what problems he was experiencing before he worked with me in terms of his lead gen, So no consistent way of booking sales calls, not signing as many clients he'd like, etc. And then told the readers exactly what we did to help him solve that, which is get super clear on who he's helping and how, optimize his LinkedIn profile, etc., etc. Told them the results that he got, which is 5+ qualified sales calls every single week. And then at the end, a call to action. So that's how the content works. If you want to start posting content, I recommend you do a minimum of 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. 1 bottom of funnel post a week, and then 2 middle of funnel, 2 top of funnel. If you really want to hit the ground running, do 7 posts a week. Do, again, 1 bottom of funnel, 3 middle of funnel, 3 top of funnel. I don't recommend that you do 2 posts a day because that often, or I've found that it kills my impressions and my reach and my engagement. Of course, that's not a metric that I actually track, like I've said, but it obviously helps in terms of reaching a wider audience. So post 7 times a week if you really want to hit the ground running, or 5 times if you have things you need to spend other time on. Now, step number 4, booking sales calls through LinkedIn, is to use DMs. DMs are what's going to get you the quickest results if you want to book sales calls this week. As I said, content is more of a long-term play 90% of the time. DMs, you can start seeing results from day 1. And I use a process called warm outreach. Rather than just going and connecting with someone and then the second they accept it, DMing them, trying to cold pitch them, etc. I would rather find warm connections who have accepted my connection from my sales nav list a couple weeks ago, because that means that they've probably read a few of my posts, they've seen me pop up a few times. And then when I message them, they're more likely to be receptive to responding to me and have a conversation with me. So when I DM someone, I open with a specific, genuine compliment. For example, hey John, really like that post you wrote about XYZ the other day. I really resonated with it. That way he knows that I've actually gone through his profile and taken the effort to talk about something that he's actually done. And then I will use my path framework to start asking some questions, okay? So step 1 is obviously find the leads to message. I always start conversation with people who have viewed my profile, recently connected with me, liked and commented on one of my recent posts, or sometimes, and this is a last resort, engage with similar content in my niche. Okay, I always do it in this order as well. I'll always start with people who have viewed my profile. If I can't find enough people to DM that week through there, then I'll go to people who've recently connected. Then I'll go to people who've recently liked and commented on my recent posts. And then lastly, if I still can't find enough people, I'll go to other creators who do a similar thing to me and message them people. But 90% of the time, I only need to do these 3 here because my sales nav list works pretty well. So here's how my DM framework actually works. This is the first question that you should ask someone. So obviously you would send a compliment, hey John, really like this, XYZ. Then you want to ask a question that checks if they're qualified without being pushy. And so I always ask about their current situation that I could potentially help with. For example, out of curiosity, how's your lead flow looking right now? Are you happy with how client acquisition is going? Winning with content right now or still figuring it out? How's LinkedIn lead generation going? Are you smashing it? I'm just trying to figure out, do they have a problem that I could potentially help them solve? Unless they literally tell me to go away or they're completely fine, I then either way move them onto a pain question. So once they respond to my compliment and situation question, I now go onto the pain. My goal with this question is to uncover what's not working for them. And so I want to ask a question to understand if they have a pain that I can solve for them. For example, are you getting X result yet or still working on it? An example of that in my case would be, are you getting as many qualified sales calls as you'd like or still room for more? Or are you consistently booking sales calls, or do you sometimes find that it's up and down? Okay, I want to focus on one pain point in this question as well. I'm not going to say, do you have any pain/problems at the minute? Because that's way too broad. They'll probably open up with way too many things and then I can't hone in on one. Or they'll just think, this is too difficult to think about, I'm not gonna reply to this guy. So I always just focus on one pain point, okay? Now, if they give me a really solid pain and say, yeah, LinkedIn lead generation is really difficult right now and it's really bothering me, I'll offer a call straight away. But if they give me a vague pain or they don't have a pain, I then move on to the ambition question. The goal of this is to find out what they actually want. So I then ask them something about where do you want to get to? i.e. how fast do you want to start booking sales calls? How many qualified sales calls do you want to ideally be booking each week? Let's say you as a personal trainer. How much weight do you want to lose? What are your health goals, etc., etc., okay? What you want to get from this question is either numbers, something tangible, or just clarity on where they want to get to. Again, if they give me a really solid goal and they're like, yeah, I really want to start booking qualified sales calls every single week. Here's how many I want to book. Here's why. Then I'll offer a sales call straight away. If they give me a vague one or they're not really sure about their goal, I will then move on to the trap questions. I'll go, okay, what's stopping you from achieving that goal right now? Or what's holding you back within your business? Or what's holding you back with your health goals, etc., etc., okay? This helps me diagnose the gap that I'm going to help them close. Now, again, if they give me a pain, a really solid pain, really solid goal, or tell me what's stopping them from achieving their goals right now, I'll offer a call. But if not, I'll take them through the process. And at the end, I then go, okay, it sounds to me like you have a problem you're not quite sure how to solve right now. I'd be really curious to see if I can help you with that. Do you want to jump on a quick call to see if I can help? Now, see how I've positioned this call as a solution and positioned it as me helping them. I haven't gone, I'm really confident I can help. I'm going to show you my system. Do you want to buy it? Because that would just be cold pitching. I want to position myself as someone who's there to help, because I genuinely don't know if I can help them yet. I need to get on a sales call to determine that. And so when you offer your call, position yourself as, I wonder if I can help. Do you want to jump on a call to see if I can help? This is a short, natural, no pitch energy way of getting people onto a sales call through the DMs. Okay, I recommend that you send a minimum of 50 per week. And if you really want to get some good results, send voice notes from your phone on the LinkedIn app instead of typing. People just seem to respond better to voice notes. That's what I've found. So if you have the time, you have a microphone or a phone to do it, send voice notes. And then once you've done that, you want to use data to make this whole DM process consistent. Okay, so here's a scorecard that I use. I track the number of DMs that I send, the number of calls that I booked, and the number of qualified calls booked. I also track number of responses, number of follow-ups, etc., etc. If you want the scorecard that I use to track all of my DMs, all of my content, all of my sales, all of my revenue, etc., drop me a message on LinkedIn or Instagram. Both of the links to them are in the description. I'll send it over. Just tell me that you watch this video and you want the scorecard. The last step of my DM framework is if someone stops replying at any point, let's say they don't reply to my first question, I'll bump them up once. If I'm mid-conversation with them though and they stop replying, I'll bump them up once after 24 hours, the second time after 48 hours, and the third time after 72 hours, and then I'll leave it. But follow-ups work so well. People get busy sometimes. And yes, you might feel a bit salesy. Yes, you might feel a bit annoying to bump people up. But if someone genuinely has a problem that you can help them solve, you're doing them a duty by bumping them up because you're trying to get them that solution that you know you can help them achieve. And what you'll often find as well is when you bump someone up, they'll actually say, sorry, I've been super busy recently. Thanks for bumping me. So start sending follow-ups as well. You'll start booking a lot more sales calls off the back of that. Now, the last step for generating leads and booking sales calls on LinkedIn for me is lead magnets. I only recommend to my clients that they do this once the basics are mastered. So once they're consistently booking sales calls through content, through DMs, only then do I say start using lead magnets. And the idea of this is to direct people from a post to a landing page, to a lead magnet, to a newsletter, but also when they request a lead magnet, DMing them as well, okay? So here's an example of a lead magnet post. Blah, blah, blah. If you want this, comment DM and I'll send it to you. Then they sign up to a landing page, they get access to the lead magnet, and then I send them a DM and say, hey, saw the like and comment, here is the lead magnet. PS, doing a quick poll on everybody who requested this, how many calls you booking from LinkedIn? 0, 5 to 10, blah, 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 okay? This then is just another in for me to start a conversation with them. Once they reply to this, I basically just take them through the PATH framework. So ask them a pain question, ambition, trap question, etc. Okay. And this works really well for another long-term play, but it does also get some good short-term wins because you'll probably find that 50 to 100 people will comment on the lead magnet post if you've been posting content for a few months. And then you can obviously DM the people, start conversations, booking a few sales calls. But I want to reiterate, do not do lead magnets until you've mastered content and DMs. Otherwise, you'll be scrambling yourself everywhere and you'll have no time to handle it. And then step 3 of my LinkedIn bakery system is to turn all of the above into what I call an ecosystem. Because you don't want to be spending the rest of your life writing content every single day, sending DMs, posting lead magnets. You want to be able to take a step away from the lead generation and your sales side of your business and start focusing on other things like client delivery, spending time with your family and friends, going out on holidays and having a week off, etc. So we need to turn this into something that kind of runs itself so it doesn't consume too much of your time. So the way I do this is with my content, I use a custom GPT to do 90% of the heavy lifting. I give access to all of my clients to my GPT that writes all of my content. And as I say, this does a lot of the heavy lifting. It saves you a ton of time, writes super good content that generates inbound leads, and it helps you with ideas and actually writing the content. Again, my clients get access to this when they sign up with me. The idea is it generates more inbound leads over time. And another super good thing about content is it increases the leverage of your DMs, of your sales calls. Now, you could probably book sales calls just by sending DMs, but you'll have less trust when you do jump on the sales call. You'll also get a lower response rate because people don't know who you are. But let's say that Cristiano Ronaldo messaged you tomorrow. You'd be way more likely to respond to him than a random stranger from down the road because you know who he is. You've seen his posts. Obviously, he's way more famous than you or I are ever going to be, probably. But just from people seeing your posts and seeing your content, when you do DM them, they're way more likely to respond because they've seen your post. They trust you a little bit more. And so it increases the leverage of your DMs and obviously increases your close rate on the sales calls. Then the way I turn DMs into an ecosystem is obviously I track all the data and I use that to turn it into a consistently reliable lead gen machine. i.e. I know that if I do 100 DMs, I'll book 30 sales calls and close 10 of them. If I want 20 clients, I have to do 200 DMs, so on, so on, so on. But I also automate certain parts of the DM process. So for example, I used to automate the starting the conversation part because that used to take up most of my time. And then I choose to reply to the people who did respond manually. Some of my clients automate the whole thing using different AI softwares. I don't typically recommend that you do that. Some AI softwares are good, but I prefer to just be in a little bit more control and actually speak to people directly. Because then when I do get on a sales call with them, I have a bit more context as well. My recommendation is that if you want to completely walk away from DMs, you don't want to do any manual work or don't want to touch it at all because you hate it that much, then what I would do is document your DM process. So turn it into an SOP and basically just document what your top performing situation questions are, what your top performing pain questions are, what your top performing ambition questions are, top performing trap questions, etc. Document all of that. Document how often you follow someone up until you get a really good system that is producing good results. And then hire an appointment setter, train them up on them processes and them SOPs. And then you've got someone running your DM system for you, booking consistent sales calls, okay? The third step is if you are doing lead magnets, the way you can turn this into an ecosystem is create 7-day and 60-day email sequences so you get both short-term and long-term gains. The 7-day email sequence should be like super pushy, trying to get them on a sales call within that week. The 60-day email sequence is more of a long-term play, dropping value bombs here and there, maybe offering one call once a week. But in that way, you're nurturing people and trying to get sales calls in short term. Another thing as well, if you hire an appointment setter for your DMs, you can also get them to reach out to the new/old leads from your lead magnets via the DM. So yeah, this is how you turn it into an ecosystem that then runs without you having to run it. And this is doable. I help some of my clients automate the whole lead gen process through LinkedIn. Some of them prefer to still do it manually because they enjoy writing the content. They like being in the DMs. If that's not for you, we can also turn it into an ecosystem that runs by itself. So that's how my LinkedIn bakery lead gen system works from a bird's eye point of view. You build a really good core offer, you post content and lead magnets potentially, and then you get people to visit your profile, which you've obviously optimized. You DM the people who engage with your content, potentially lead magnets as well. And if you do have lead magnets going out, you have a newsletter going to them people. All of them things lead into a sales call, which obviously turns into cash, which you can spend on holidays, cars, supporting your family, your friends, investing in yourself, etc., etc. And we did all of this without having to spend hours on lead gen every single day, without being salesy or cold pitching people in the DMs, without having to stress and worry about when your next sales call will come or when your next client will sign, without doing any pointless tasks that aren't going to turn into money or clients signed, and without needing a huge audience to sign clients. Most of my clients that I showed you earlier on in the video that have done well off the back of this system all had less than 5,000 followers and less than 5,000 impressions per week. You don't need a big audience to make money on any social media. You just need a good system like this one here. And so if you want to implement it into your business, here's the 3 steps that you need to do as a quick recap. Number 1, build your killer offer. Ask yourself these 3 questions. Who do I help? What transformation do I help them make? I.e., what painful situation are they currently in? Where do I want to help them get to? And how fast do I help them change? How fast do I get them from point A to point B? At the end of answering these 3 questions, you should have something like, I help ICP achieve/solve thing in time frame. And then if you want to add in your unique mechanism at the end of that, you can do that too. And then you want to obviously position that on your LinkedIn profile, etc., etc. Okay. Step 2, start the lead gen process. As I said, finish your profile and the sales navigator setup. So optimize your headline, your banner, put a button that takes people to your Calendly link, for example. Optimize your about section to be like an elevator pitch, add case studies and social proof into your services section, and then build a sales nav list of your ideal client, send them 25 to 40 connection requests a day, and then get straight into the DMs. Again, this is gonna be the quickest way for you to start getting results. So start sending 50 or more DMs every single week. The more the better. Track all of it, track the data, and start posting content 5 to 7 posts a week. It don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent with it. You need to post bottom of funnel, middle of funnel, and top of funnel content. And then the aim is to book 5 to 10 plus sales calls per week with DMs. Then start putting more effort into content and start trying to focus more on the inbound leads and maybe even the lead magnets if you want to as well. And then the last step is turn it into one big ecosystem so that it consistently produces results with or without you there. So get the results that you want first, for example, 10 sales calls a week. Document the processes that you use to write content, send DMs, build lead magnets, hire for some help or automate some certain parts, and then put more effort into content and lead magnets as a long-term play so that people start following you more, you start generating more inbound leads, and that will run itself on its own. So yeah, if you want to build your own LinkedIn bakery system to consistently book sales calls and sign clients through LinkedIn without having to cold pitch people, without having to spend hours on LinkedIn every single day, and without having to stress about when your next sales call client will come, then drop me a message on Instagram or my LinkedIn. I'll leave both the links to them in the description, or you can book a call with me straight through my Calendly link, which is also in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you learned something from it too.